Hi, and how's it going, music producers? In this video, we're gonna make the whole sound industry mad because we're giving you guys the secrets that none of these sound designers that are out there making VSTs want to let you guys in on. Now, I've been getting questions on our Discord of people asking, how do I sample, some of my favorite VSTs and some of my favorite hardware? I'm gonna show you guys how you can quickly do that within minutes, and you can create your own GUI around these samples. So maybe you got a favorite guitar that's in Omnisphere, maybe there's a favorite brass that's inside of Nexus 3, maybe you have a synth that's in Sylenth 1, and you want to, instead of having to open up all three of those different VSTs when you're making a beat, you have it all under one VST, and it can look the way you choose because you'll have full ability to customize that using Romplur. So let's go ahead and show you guys how it's done. Okay, so first we're going to start off by sampling some of our favorite VSTs. We'll use the software Extreme Sample Converter, and now I am searching for the plugin that I'm going to go ahead and sample first. Let's go ahead and sample one of my plugins. It's called Hypersonic 2. This is an older plugin that's out there. I don't even think it's being sold anymore. It might be discontinued, but I'm gonna pull that up because it has a large amount of different categories. The one we're gonna start off in is under mallets, and we'll go to preset Xylophone 2 XXL, and then what we'll do is we're gonna go ahead and make it dry. So we're gonna turn off any effects that are on this preset because we'll have reverb and we'll have chorus inside of the plugin that we create in Romplur after we sample all of these instruments. So now you can go under here and you can tell Extreme Sample Converter which notes you want to sample. For this example, I'm going to show you guys we'll sample C, E flat, which is also D sharp, F sharp, and A, and we'll do that for 2 octaves. So you see I just repeated that same exact process. So we have 8 samples that we're going to be doing, and then I'll adjust the hold over here to let's say 1 second, and yeah, probably just 1.70, and we'll go ahead and name our sample name. Go ahead and click start, just like that, and now we have our samples under here. So what I'll do is right click on these. After I addition them, I can right click, choose select all samples, and then I'll go ahead and click on the export. Now what's really important is that you keep everything organized. So I like to create a new folder, and I'll go ahead and name it whatever you want your plugin to be named, and then I'll go ahead and create the folder for those instruments, and I just saved them into there just like that. It's really, really simple. Okay, so now we're gonna sample some more instruments out of Hypersonic. You can use any plugin. Like I said, I'm just using this Hypersonic as an example. We'll go ahead under the brass section. There's Miami Brass, and let's go ahead and throw in a couple more presets under here so that we can make a really big sound. We want it to sound a little big, so we can link those just like that. And what we'll do next is see if there's any effects anywhere that we need to turn off. I'm not seeing any here, but let's go ahead and click on the mix page. There we go. So there's effects 2. We're going to take off all of these effects so that it's a real plain sound. And then we'll go ahead back into Extreme Sample Converter, and we're going to go ahead and sample these. But before we do, we'll adjust that hold just a little bit because we want these to play out a little bit longer. So we want that note to hold out 3 seconds and 3.5 seconds. So that's a pretty good round. I like around 3.5 to 4 seconds. We'll go ahead and sample those just like that. We can audition them. Sounds good. Go ahead and click export, and we're going to create a brand new folder for this. So we'll go ahead and create another subfolder, and we'll name this one Brass, Bigger Horns, just like that. And we'll save right into that folder, just like that. Now let's get back into Hypersonic. Let's go ahead and sample some strings maybe. That might be kind of cool. So we'll go ahead and click on load. Let's find the strings section, and we'll replace each of these brass horns with some strings. So I'm just under the string section. I haven't even listened to any of these. I'm just grabbing any of them for this example. But for you guys, you know your sound. So you guys can find all your favorite presets and just bring it all into one place so that you don't have to go, when you're creating beats, you don't have to go into, 5 different plugins to find 5 different sounds. You can sample all 5 of those sounds and bring it into one plugin, which is awesome. So for this string, now we're going to go ahead and sample it, and we are naming it String Ensemble. Click Start, just like that. Perfect. We'll scroll down. You can audition some of the notes, click Export, and we're just repeating that same exact process. We're going to go ahead and create a subfolder, and we're going to name it String Ensemble. Perfect, just like that. Click Save. There it is. So next, what we could do is we can go ahead and totally get out of hypersonic, and I want to show you guys. We can go back to VST Rack, and we can find a different VST in here. I have tons of VSTs. I'm sure you guys have a heck of a lot more than I do. I just downloaded a lot of these that are free, just so that I have some other ones that I've created over the years. But for this example, let's go ahead and drag in a VST. It's called Hive. So we'll go ahead and load it up. It's a lot of synthesizer stuff. And what we'll do, let's go ahead and we're going to go ahead and just click on any preset that it has. And we'll just, I didn't even listen to it. Oh, that sounds pretty good. Okay, so it's like a hyper saw kind of sound. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and sample it. We'll name it Synth Super Wave. That sounds good. Click Save. Just like that, it's sampling all of those notes that we like. Just like that, perfect. We'll click Export. And we're going to add another subfolder. This one is Synth Super Wave. Excellent. Click Save. Okay, so now we have a folder full of subfolders containing samples of these instruments that we want to bring into our plugin. So now the software that we created is called Romplur. This is going to allow you to create your own custom VST plugin. What we'll do is we'll use the default template that's here, and maybe we'll just go ahead and swap out the background. It's really easy. So when you purchase Romplur, it comes with a free asset pack. So what we'll do is let's go ahead under static. We'll go under backgrounds. We'll choose this template over here, and we can easily swap that out and have an aqua background. Or let's go back into that folder one more time. Static, backgrounds, template, and there's red. You see there's different colors under here. I think it might be kind of cool to have a red one. Don't see a lot of red VSTs out there. And then what we'll do is we'll go ahead and right click under labels. We'll come down here. Let's name this Basic. Just the basic VST. Let's actually put that'll be basic VST under there, and then you can adjust the size of your label if you choose. I'm gonna go ahead and actually make this a little bit bigger up here, and we'll place it around there. That looks good. We could also adjust the color of that if we wanted. Might be kind of cool to have that blend in just like that. Just like that. Okay, perfect. So now what we want to do is go to the mapping editor. We'll pull up our files, and I'm going to show you how you can easily map these in. We'll go to the bigger brass, and then what we'll do is just highlight all of these samples. So sample 48, this is C2, all the way to A and C4. Or C3, sorry about that. Let's go ahead and come down here for the key range. We're going to go to C2. And let's put A3 for the key in range, just like that. So now you can see all of our samples are in here. Now what I like to do is I'll go ahead and rearrange these samples just a little bit. So what I like to do, I'll just go ahead and pull these in just so you guys could see. You could drag them in one by one, or you could drag them in bulk if you choose. I'm gonna go ahead and pull these back. And then I'm gonna show you how you can quickly assign these. So what we could do, what I like to do is, here is C2. You can hear the note. That's what it sounds like. Perfect. And then what I'll do is I'll come in here. This one's going to be D sharp. That's note 51. And then for note 54, that's going to be F sharp. Perfect. Looks good. We'll actually make it stretch a little bit. For 57, that's going to be A. And then for 60, that is middle C. So I'm just right clicking and you can adjust the root note. And the whole rule of thumb with this is you don't want to overstretch these samples. You don't want them stretching across, you know, too far, because that reduces the quality of the sample. So I just have these trying to stretch only probably 2 to 3 notes max. F sharp, perfect. And then for this final one, that is A3, perfect. And then I pull it out. Okay, so now what I like to do is I'm gonna quickly go ahead. I don't want these notes to just cut off, right? So what we wanna do is create a continuous loop. So I clicked forward, I'll adjust this loop start point. We'll leave the loop end point there and just go 100% for the loop fade. And I'm gonna do the same exact thing really quickly for each of these. Voila, just like that. Forward, adjust loop start point. Boom. And you could also come down here and do that same process. We're just adding the loop point so that these are going to loop. Perfect. Last one here for this preset. Excellent. So everything is looping. So when we press on the note, you could hear that crossfade is applied. And then what I want to do is I'll scroll up and we'll go ahead and name that preset brass big horns. And then what we'll do is quickly add another, let's add a new preset, and let's look in our folder. The next one's gonna be chord, dance chord is an instrument. That's gonna be our next one, perfect. And we'll do the same thing as we did before. Or actually, I'll just show you guys what we could do is we could just go ahead down here, C2, voila. You could drag these right in if you choose, just like this as well, one by one. This one needs to be D sharp 2. Perfect. Excellent. This one's gonna be F sharp 2. After you do this a few times, you guys are gonna become pros at assigning your different keys. This is 57, so this is gonna be A, 2, is. $60 is what? That's middle C. So that'll just stay right there. That looks good. 63, that is going to be D sharp. $66 is F sharp, 3. And then 69 is A3. Just like that. And then what we'll do is we'll stretch out the ends of these samples. So that one kind of collided with another zone over there. So now we're all set. And then what we could do is go ahead and play these. Sounds good. We'll go ahead next and add a new preset. We could look into our folder. This one's that mallet xylophone, so we'll name it mallet xylophone. Add preset. So this is going to create our third preset now. We'll highlight all of the notes, drag it in. So we should have C2, C2 to A3, just like that. And like I said before, I like to pull these out just so I can realign them sometimes. I love to just map these in manually. Okay, so we have our C2, that looks good. This the second note is going to be our D sharp. Next one's going to be our F sharp. 57 is going to be our A. Pull that back a little bit. That looks good. Okay, so next is 60. So we know that that is middle C. We'll set that for middle C. That looks good. The next one's going to be 63. That is our D sharp. 66 is what? F sharp. And then our 69, we know from our previous mappings, that is A. So we're just repeating that same exact process. Now, we don't want to add looping. This is a mallet, so it's, you know, kind of more of a pluck type of sound. Okay, so that we'll just leave it as is there. That looks good. So now when we look under our preset browser, we have our brass, we have our chord, and we have a mallet in there. Let's go ahead and add one more preset. It's our string ensemble. Maybe we'll add two more just for the fun of it for this video. So we'll add our string ensemble, add preset. We're going to go ahead and highlight all of these samples that we have in our folder. And then you just drag them in. C2. This time let's put it at C3. Oops, let's go back. C2 to let's go C4. Let's go ahead and have that in there. So what we'll do for our first samples, we want to make sure that it's at C2. Our second sample should be at what, D sharp. Third sample should be at F sharp. Fourth sample should be at A. Our 60th note, what is that? That's going to be middle C. Then we have D sharp for our 63rd. We have F sharp for the 66th, and for the 69th note, that is A. Perfect. So let's go ahead and stretch out the endings. That looks good. And then since this is a string instrument, we do want to add a continuous note on this. So we're going to go ahead and apply our crossfade just like we did before. So we'll start with this first one. Have it set to forward. We'll adjust that loop start and then adjust 100% on the fade or whatever you choose. That's just what I'm going to do for this video. So it's just easier to go ahead and just adjust it completely all the way there. That's what I also just personally like for my personal preference. There we go. That crossfade's going to allow it to blend properly. Just adjusting that start loop. There it is. We're going to keep going. A couple more. Voila. 66th note forward. Away. Looks good. Forward. Just the loop start and crossfade all the way. Okay, so we are done with that. Let's move on to our final preset. This is going to be Synth Super Wave. Add preset. And let's go ahead and find the samples for this synth. So we're going to go ahead and highlight these, drag and drop them in. And we'll have it across C2 to C4. Import. So for the first sample, we're going to go ahead and right click on C2. The second note is 51. We'll go ahead and right click on that D sharp. For 54, that should be F sharp. Note 57 is A. For note 60, this is middle C again, C3. 63 is D sharp. 66 is F sharp. And for the final note is A. For 69, perfect. We'll go ahead and stretch these out. Perfect. That looks good. Now, what we also want to do is let's go ahead and quickly add looping to these, just like we did with our other instruments. Perfect. We don't want that synth to cut off, so we're going to add some crossfade to each of these notes. Just like that. Okay, that's looking good. Almost done here. Last one. Forward. All the way. Perfect. That looks good. So now when we look at our instrument browser, we have our brass, we have our chord, mallet, string, and synth presets in there. Everything looks good on the GUI editor. And next, what we need to do is we're ready to export, guys. So let's go ahead now and we can export this plugin. We go up to the top where it says File. I'm on a Mac now, so I jumped over to the Mac. I'm gonna use it inside of Logic, so I'll use the AU version of it. And for the name, we'll name it Basic VST. For the company name, you guys can name it whatever your company name is. We'll name our company Cool Beats. That looks good in there. And then we're just going to go ahead and click export. And we'll send it to our desktop for now. What do we name this? Basic VST. That's what we'll have it down under. Excellent. So now we have exported it and it's on our desktop now. So if you look over here on the right, I have this basic VST.component. We're going to add that into our component file. But before I do that, let's go ahead and save this project. So if you go up to the top where it says Save Romplur Project, you can save your project. So we'll name it Basic VST. Voila. And now we have our .rmplr file. So that's the Romplur project file. What we could do is we could close that out at any time. We can load up Romplur again just to show you how you can reload any of your projects. So by default, we see that, but we can go up to the top where it says File Load. And then what we could do is come down here to basic VST.rmplr. Perfect. And it just reloaded up our project. So all of our samples are loaded up, all of our presets and our GUI elements. So what we're going to do next is we're going to get out of here. We're going to go into our components folder. How we get there is under computer, hard drive, library, audio, plugins, components. We're going to drag in our components. Is this load up Logic? There it is. So Logic found it. We're going to load up a new project. We'll come down and we see Cool Beats is now showing up. Here's our basic VST. We'll choose Create. And there it is. Here's our VST that we just created. And it's containing our favorite sounds that we wanted to go in here. So what we can do now is I'll go ahead and just bring in a MIDI file just so we can kind of audition what it sounds like. So let's hear those sounds that we sampled. Just dragging in a MIDI pattern. That looks good. So there you have it. I was able to sample Hive and Hypersonic, two of my favorite VSTs. In the next video, I'll show you how you can sample out, instruments out of Omnisphere and samples out of Nexus 3 and bring it all into one VST that you could use for your own personal use. You're making a beat. You don't have to load up Omnisphere. You don't have to load up Nexus. You don't have to load up Hive. You can load up one VST and all of your favorite presets will be under here. You can add as many presets as you choose. So you could have hundreds under here if you choose. But enjoy. Hopefully you guys learned something in this video. If you have not yet, go visit us at romplur.com. That's ROMPLUR.com. Enjoy.